had a look at the Tzemach Tzedek's Rishimos, which is his notes on Tehillim, right? And in the pasuk, which is in chapter 119, which we're dealing with, welcome back. It says Galeinai va'abita niflos miturasecha. This is the verse that he started to make notes on, and he started off by bringing the Zohar that we discussed. That but on this verse that the Torah has a garments and a soul, right? We said further the garments, a body, a soul, and a soul, the soul. So he starts with that explanation, and then who remembers what he said next? In the name of the Shalah HaKadosh. Just what I suspected. Right. So he brings sort of seemingly out of place the explanation of the Shalah on this verse, which is that the Niflaos is the kavanah of the mitzvahs, right? And then he concludes his statement by saying that the Niflaos is the Pnimius HaTorah. So it sounds like he started off by saying it was the Pnimius HaTorah because he said the Torah has a garment and a body and a soul. And then he finishes by saying that the Torah, that the Niflaos that's mentioned in this verse is the Pnimius HaTorah. But in the middle, he sort of brings this Shalah, where he says it's the kavanah of the mitzvahs. And the Rebbe points out from here, every little note of the Tzemach Tzedek is exact. It must be that in order to explain this properly, we have to put in the seemingly disconnected explanation, which is that the Niflaos are not the Pnimius HaTorah, but the kavanah of the mitzvahs. Why is it like wedged in there, seemingly out of place? Then we went on to explain that essentially there's a question as to why, maybe we said this even beforehand. Let me make sure no. Then we went on to explain that the request of David HaMelech is not just that the Pnimius HaTorah should be revealed, but he says, what? Gal einai, open my eyes, and I will see the wonders from your Torah. And we said, what do your eyes have to do with it? Right? Seemingly, the reason that the secrets are concealed is for one of two reasons, depending on the level of the secrets. There's two levels of the soul, we said. There's the soul which is wrapped up behind the body, and then that's kind of like the lower part of the soul, the nefesh, ruach, and neshama, like we said, which basically cloaks itself into the body, but the body wraps around it. And then you have the part of the soul which is called the chai and the yechida, and that's concealed not because there's something wrapped around it. Nothing can wrap around it. It's infinite light, which cannot be contained. So basically, the eyes being opened have nothing to do with either of these explanations of the request of asking for these secrets to be revealed. He should have just asked for the secrets to be revealed. Why does he open my eyes as if the opening of his eye had something to do with it, right? Even if he had perfect eyes open, these things are still concealed. So then we started to explain about a mashal that is the mashal for Matan Torah. That when Hashem first created the world, right? He said like the mashal of a king. He decreed that the Bnei Rome, the Romans, should not descend to Syria, and the Syrians should not ascend to Rome, right? And then at one point he undid the decree, and they went into each other. And he said, so too a Matan Torah, where Hashem decided, Hashemayim Shemayim La Hashem Va'aras Nasan Livnei Adam. The heavens are for God, and the earth is for man, and never shall the two meet. And then at Matan Torah he bittled the decree. And if you remember, we were sort of exact about this wording. It said the tachtonim yalu lamayla, the lower ones went up, and the higher ones came down. El yonim yadu lamata. That's what it says. But then he said, Hashem says what? Ani amaschil. I'll start. And it says, Vayered Hashem al har Sinai, el Moshe amar alei al har. What's the contradiction in there that we pointed out yesterday? Noam? It was flipped. In the beginning, when he says that the decree should be undone, he says the lower one should come up first, and then he says the higher one should come down. And why does he say it in that order? Because that's really his ultimate interest. Hashem wants that the lower one should come up, meaning to say he wants that the physical should be able to experience the spiritual. That's what it means to come up, that within like the situation of our limited physical reality, we should come up and open ourselves up to a spiritual reality. Not that we should be sort of infiltrated from on high and just sort of be given something that doesn't really register with our own senses. However, when he actually started the process of undoing this decree, he He started off by saying, "Vayered Hashem al Har Sinai." Ani amaschil. He began first from above to below. Right? Why? Why did he do it like that? And only then Moshe went up the mountain from below to above. Yeah.
That's basically the first part was his original plan to create the world within, and then the second part is so it didn't necessarily work. So he needs to give us chachamim in order to show us his wonders, so that we have the koch to go.
Right. Exactly. His original plan wouldn't work. He wants us to come up, but we can't come up. We're sort of stuck in our own little world over here, and without some help from above, which is really not what he wants. He doesn't want us to have help from above. If it was up to him, he would just have us come up. But we have no idea what we wouldn't even think to look for godliness, and we would sort of just stay in a totally disconnected state if he did not infiltrate, penetrate, and bring godliness sort of by force into our purview. But once that happened, his intention was not that it should remain in such a situation where he's doing it for us, but that then the tachtonim yalu l'mayla, that really the lower ones should come up on their own. And this is basically what we're saying, that open my eyes, right? This is the request. I believe we got to this part. Yeah. Now it makes sense. When David HaMelech is saying, open my eyes, and I want to see the wonder from the Torah, the point is specifically open my eyes. I don't want you to just show me wonders of the Torah if it doesn't pass through the filter of my eyes. In other words, my experience, my avoda should get me there, because otherwise it's not really reaching the kavana elyona, really what Hashem designs and desires. Everyone remembers from yesterday? That's the review. Okay.
Is that related to Nephil, like to fall?
Not, in some way, obviously every word that has any letters connected is in somewhere, but no, it's not the same root. Yeah, it's really comes through the pella. The niflaot, the nun in front of it is actually a grammatical move. It's not part of the root. Okay, so we're going to go to, again, the paragraph directly before os he. Everyone sees that? Al pizeh? You got your thing? Thing? Okay.
On the word you got, I saw that the word they used when they did the circumcision is gilati. I removed the disgrace of Egypt, so it's like the same sort of revealment of the communion.
Yeah. Okay, al pizeh. Yesh levar mashkusu b'maimer. Now we can go back and try and understand what it's saying in the Maimer. Which Maimer are we talking about? We're talking about the Rebbe Marash's Maimer. This whole Maimer is based on the Maimer from the Rebbe Marash called Gali Nai. We can now go back to that Maimer and explain Perush Gali Nai v'abit niflos mitoro secha. Right? I told you that every single word so far, we're basically getting to the point, is totally significant in this. We haven't looked at the word abita yet, but gal suddenly is lag ba'omer or lashon giloy, einai, opening the eyes. We now understand the secret over there. What do we say was unique about the word niflaos in this pasuk? First of all, it means penimis Torah, but we also said something else, which is that it's a plural, which means it's talking about two levels of soul. Right? So it's like dialing in exactly what which was revealed on lag ba'omer, the second level of the soul. Just pointing out that this verse is extremely dialed into everything we need to know about Rabbi Shimon. And now, for the last word in the pasuk, mitorah secha, open my eyes and I will see the wonders from your Torah. Let's take a minute to talk about this last word. Hu shuriyas haniflo, and it's connected with what we just said regarding opening the eyes. Hu shuriyas haniflos the Torah. This is also part of the request that the seeing of the wonders of the Torah, what are the wonders? The soul, nishmasa deraisa, and nishmasa l'nishmasa, the soul of the soul. All of that should be Tehi mi Torah secha, mi Torah haniglis. In other words, the request is not just that my eyes should be open, I should see it from my own perspective, and I want to see the wonders, but I want to see those wonders from your Torah, in other words, from the revealed Torah. That every wonder that I see, I want to see it through a pasuk in Chumash, or in a Mishnah, or in a Midrash, or in a Halacha. I don't want to don't show me mamash images of the tree of life. I want you to show that to me from your Torah. This is the request, yeah.
So something that came to mind when you were saying that was that the eyes are one of the most sensitive organs. So maybe another request wrapped in that is that because the eyes are so sensitive, the request is to make yourself more sensitive to teachings, to be more sensitive from that higher perspective. That's just something that came to
go with it. Okay. Cool. So, right. So, but again, this whole is all part of the same theme that I'm not just asking for wonders, right? Someone could just come in here, get a blackboard, and start Mama showing us pictures of the Ein Sof and the Adam Kadmon and the whole thing. It's like pure Kabbalah. But what we're doing here is we're finding the secrets of this, of Lag BaOmer inside of Pasuk and Tehillim. And that's kind of the whole point. The Tehillim itself is showing you the wonders, right? And since the Tehillim, etc., the Chumash, the Midrash, the Mishnah, etc., the Halacha, that's all, so to speak, the revealed Torah. That's the body, right? So it's the same idea. I don't want to just see the soul. I want to see the soul through the body. I want to see your wonders from your Torah. The L'chora hare ikar sheyira niflaos the Torah. It comes with the same sort of havamina. Seemingly, why? We just want to see the wonders of the Torah. Just show them to me. Why do I have to see them through like a filter of nigla? Why is it so necessary that I'm going to see and like make out that there's a tree of life and all the soul and the secrets and the nefesh, ruach, neshama, chayim, yechida? Why do I have to find that inside of the Mishnah? Why do I have to find that in the revealed Torah? And the answer is, the kol ha'inyanim sheba'olam v'sheba'adam, that everything in the world and in man has chalasa hu b'Torah. It all starts in the Torah. Hang on 1 second. It all starts in the Torah. Anything that you're going to find in the, just find my place here, in the world and in man, right? It all starts from the Torah. How's something going to get to the world or to the man if it doesn't start from Torah? Torah is the archetype of creation. V'lachein, agdei sharias, and he flows the Torah da Adam. He agdei inyanim eile shebagay the Torah. Therefore, by seeing these wonders of the Torah, right, through these revealed matters of the Torah, hainu sha'agufa lavush the Torah atzmo, meaning that the body and the garment of the Torah itself, megale es haneshama v'haneshama l'neshama, that is what's going to be the vehicle to reveal the soul and the soul of the soul. So this then creates a scenario in the person who learns the Torah. And he flows the Torah. It's going to create basically a reciprocal situation. Whatever takes place in the Torah is going to take place in you. And so by seeing the wonders of the Torah from the revealed parts of the Torah, this same process is going to take place in man. That you're going to see the wonders of the Torah, so to speak, from the revealed parts of yourself. In other words, that your own intellect, your own humanity, right, will be able to capture these wondrous things. That's the whole idea of opening my eyes, that this wondrous reality should not be something foreign and disconnected from my own personal experience, as we've been describing. It's the purpose of the tachtonim going up. It should be something that I can contain, something that I can own. In order for that ever to take place, the vehicle, the mechanism for that to take place, that your eyes could be opened and you could see all these wonders as though they're, so to speak, the miracle of modern science, and like you sort of get it. You're not, in a certain sense, it's almost taking the miracle away. Because you understand it, the big concern is that you could think that this is somehow natural, right? But the reality is Hashem ultimately is happy about that. The fact that we're going to see Mashiach coming and like life, people living forever, and like the end of disease and instant communication with the whole world, as though these are natural things. When in reality, these are the things that were prophesied about Mashiach. Even though, God forbid, there's a little worry that you might miss the point, this is ultimately what Hashem wants. He wants us to internalize the wonders as through the eyes of man. And the only way we can do that, the mechanism for doing that, is finding the wonders of the Torah through the revealed parts of Torah. Because it's the same process that takes place inside the Torah, which then enables that process to happen inside of you. You understand what I'm saying there? No.
Because the revealed Torah tells you the secrets. When you're
Let's say, for example, you're like your mind is, so to speak, the revealed part, and like the wonders of God are the concealed part. And what is our whole request? I don't want to just see the wonders. I want my eyes to be open. I want my mind to be the one responsible for perceiving these wonders. Right? That's like the goal. Now, how do we do it? We follow that same process in our Torah learning. I don't want to just have someone come and deliver to me the secrets of the Torah. I want to see those secrets of the Torah shown through the body of the revealed, in other words, the part of the Torah that I can understand.
Meaning Chumash wouldn't show a person, wouldn't open his mind to be able for him to be able to see it. Would have to learn really the
No, our intention is that the Chumash should be the vehicle through which we learn these things.
We're talking about the Zohar,
We're talking about the function. If you take the Zohar, right, what does it do? It brings you psukim from the Torah, and it shows you the mysteries of those psukim through those very words of Torah. Now, by the way, there are other Sifrei Kabbalah, right, that, like the Sefer Bahir and other, even if you want to, there's other Tanaim that were osek in Pnimius Torah. And they didn't teach them necessarily through the verses of the Torah. They just basically explained to us the mysteries of creation. They started talking about the soul. They started independently of how you're going to find that through the story of Avram and through the story of Bilham, whatever it is. The point that he's making here is I want to see those mysteries specifically through the body of the Torah. Right? I want to see those mysteries through something which previously I thought was just something lower that I could understand with my own mind. Why? Because by utilizing that process where the mystery comes through the channel of something which was previously understood by me, it will make that process take place in me, that my human brain and my physical limited human experience will be the vehicle that godliness can suddenly open up and see. If I don't follow that process in the Torah learning, it will never take place in my own self.
It's an elevation.
It's the way you elevate though, right? You can elevate by someone coming in and just picking you up and elevating you, or you can elevate by someone explaining into concepts that you already know and sort of making the vessel a little bit bigger, a little bit more brilliant, that you can see that the things that you already knew are actually filled with infinite mysteries. So it comes through your own experience. Make sense? You following?
Seems a little bit wishy-washy. Like I don't see how practically by learning the hidden parts of Torah in this way it actually reveals any deeper part of myself.
The idea is that everything comes from Torah. Torah is the blueprint of the world, right? So, for example, let me give you an example. Just one has to come to take a note at some point in their life that the invention of modernity, chemistry, physics, biology, like psychology, all the new way that man began to look at himself a couple hundred years ago, came together with the revelation of Hasidus in the world. And according to Hasidus, and according to even predictions from the Zohar, they came about because Hasidus was revealed to the world. In other words, when we got the teachings of Hasidus, we suddenly had a complete, it's just a few handful of Jews in Russia talking about some mystical things, but it's not. The Jewish people obviously have a massive influence over the whole world, and even when we're sitting here studying right now and no one's listening to us, even though they are, it has a massive influence over the whole world. The presence of the Torah of Hasidus in the world changed the world fundamentally. And it made it so, just like in the Torah, what is Hasidus? It's looking deeper than the Pshat, and deeper than the Remez, and deeper than the Drush, and deeper than the Sod. It's basically going into plumbing the depths of the inside of something, and realizing that the whole thing has to be redefined now because I know what the insides look like. Well, isn't that chemistry, biology, physics, and psychology? It's exactly what that is. So when we do that in Torah, it happens in the world. And it happens in you. That's the point, is that when you're asking me how does this process work, I'm saying it's a little bit like mysterious. When God gave the Torah to a bunch of people in the desert, suddenly the whole world was transformed forever. But you can understand how these things work. Like when Einstein and his chevra sat there and started to figure out how to split the atom, it had an effect on every single creature in the world because just the knowledge that the whole world could be saved or destroyed by the press of a button changes how Mrs. Sally Smith is going to do her laundry that day, right? It just changes the perspective of reality. So I'm saying the Torah because the Torah preceded creation, and the Torah is the blueprints of creation. Let's get this also as a preface, right? How did Hashem create the world? He's got blueprints. The blueprints is His holy Torah. When He looks through His Torah, it tells him what the world should look like. Well, when the Torah suddenly turned into a new Torah because we have the Pnimius Torah, the world which comes out of it is a different world. It's a world that's looking into the Pnimius. So again, this is how it works. Like, you could ask me, what does my tefillin do for me? What does my tzitzis do for me? mitzvahs have an effect on the whole behavior of man. And he's just trying to explain to you, when you learn Torah in this fashion, that suddenly through what you understood before as being just a simple Mishnah, and all of a sudden it's literally the blueprints of the Ein Sof and all these types of things, that will affect that your basic understanding of yourself will now be a kli, just like the Torah that you knew before, for brand new revelations of your own soul. Make more sense a little bit?
Yeah. So the way I learn Torah affects the way Torah affects me.
It affects the way Torah affects you. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. It also changes the way that you perceive reality, right?
Bringing a new mind in the world for
It's-
people to have this new way of thinking because it was introduced to the world.
Yeah, you can see, for example, that those who learn Pnimius Torah, particularly Chabad Hasidus, they conduct themselves differently towards their fellow Jew. They conduct themselves differently towards Goyim. They conduct themselves differently vis-a-vis science and technology. They have a different approach to everything. And almost to the point that the Jews who don't learn this are sometimes very angry that in some way we're like going off and we've done something crazy, because the way we learn Torah affects the way that we see ourselves and the reality around us. We're trying to schlep everyone into this reality, right? The Rebbe is trying to schlep everyone into this reality. You see yourself in the world as a completely different place. You can tell almost by looking at a person. I mean, you really can. If he learns Chassidus or not, you can tell by looking at him. Because his whole business of self-discovery is completely different, because there's this aha moment at every page. So then you start to look at the world differently as well. You start to see everything and like the hashgacha pratis in it. You see the elokus, which is dripping inside of every, what would have otherwise been just a normal state of reality in a regular event. You're trained to look at the mystery inside of that event through the actual details of the event itself. Just like the way you learned the Panemius through the Nigla. It changes your perspective. Yeah.
On that, like one of the aspects that Hasidut does is it sort of like reconciles the opposing opinions, saying like they're both true, like at the same time, which is like the same process in quantum physics. That when we look deep down at the what's it called,
The quirk.
the quark, and it's both here and there. It's like a superposition. It's like neither of this nor that. So it's
a particle in a wave.
yeah, that's what it is.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So who caused it? It's Hasidut that caused the.
According to the
Or is it,
the Zohar predicted at a certain time in history, which is just about exactly when Hasidus came to the world, it said there's going to be a massive flood, right? And it was actually in Parshas Noach when he speaks about this, and he says that just like in the flood, the Mayanot HaTahom, the well springs from below, and the windows of heaven, they both opened up in the time of the flood. There was water from both directions. And he said this was a flood of will happen again. He predicted a date. Mamish. It's crazy. And that date is Bidiyuk, the beginning of the Industrial Revolution, and the onset of the spreading of Hasidus from the Baal Shem Tov and the Alter Rebbe. And so basically he was trying to say that that really it's a flooding of godly knowledge into the world, but so much so that just exactly as we're explaining, it comes through our understanding of seeing the world. In other words, on one hand, he asked the Rebbe asked in a Sikha about this. He says, why does the Zohar suddenly say in one breath there's going to be a knowledge from above and from below? The knowledge from below is earthly human knowledge, science. The knowledge from above is divine wisdom. Why would you put the two in the same sentence? In other words, great, we have modern physics, but compared to mamish, the infinite knowledge of God, which is coming through Hasidus, it's like shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath. But it's based on what we're saying right now. Hashem's intention is that we should find this infinite knowledge of God through our own brains and through the knowledge from below, because this becomes a vehicle, the necessary vehicle for us to see the divine knowledge. Hey, so these two qualities that we mentioned, Shebabitul HaGezerah v'Mechitza ben Elyon v'Tachtonim, which are qualities of the undoing of the decree and the wall between the higher and the lower realm. Shenischadru Matan Torah, which we said was made novel at Matan Torah. Hem mechlalus yoser, if you wanted to call that sort of another word, if you want to describe it in another way, it's the basic difference between Torah and mitzvahs. The basic difference between Torah and mitzvahs. In other words, what are we saying? That the elyonim yardu lamata, the tachtonim yalu lamayla, and the elyonim yardu lamata, this whole notion that the one came up and one came down, this is basically what Torah mitzvahs was. Torah, mitzvahs. Inyan Yeridas elyonim lamata, if you want to talk about the higher ones coming down, shnis chadash matan Torah, hu beikar Torah, right? When you talk about the movement of the idea of something coming into our reality, which is from a different reality, and that's sort of the idea from above to below, this is primarily what we talk about Torah. Remember, why are we switching our conversation into Torah mitzvahs right now? Who can remember? We're going to start talking about Torah mitzvahs. Where did it come from? I mean, we're always talking about Torah mitzvahs. Exactly. We're trying to figure out why the Shalach threw that business about the kavanah of the mitzvahs in there, right? So that's our sort of our direction. Now he's going to start to explain this. So he says, based on the idea that there was a above and a below, Torah was this notion of the descent from above into our world. In other words, not exactly the ultimate interest of Hashem, if you think about it, right? Based on what we said before, if Hashem could have just had mitzvahs, he wouldn't have wanted Torah to be given. Because Torah is basically an above to below experience, which is primarily Hashem doing it for us and showing us things that are sort of beyond us. Right? What it really wants is for us to elevate, which is we're going to see soon is primarily accomplished by us taking on these mitzvahs. The only problem is, try having a mitzvah without Torah. You don't even know what it is. That's the whole point. Torah describes to you how and what the mitzvah is. So it's kind of like built into this idea that he really wants us to do mitzvahs, but you can't have mitzvahs without Torah. In fact, they voted on this in the academies of old, right? Which is greater, Talmud or Maisa? Where did they conclude? Yeah? Exactly. They wanted to say Maisa, but you can't do a Maisa without the Talmud. So they had to say Talmud shemevi l'dei Maisa. The Torah, because it brings you to do a deed. Really the deed. But how are you going to do a deed without the Torah? So there has to be this descent first from Hashem from above to below. And this is what happened in Matan Torah, the Indian of Hashem, so to speaking, is Torah from above. The Indian aliyas atachtoni l'mayla, whereas the other direction, where the lower ones are intended to come up, Shnis Chadash Matan Torah, that was also something that happened for the first time in Matan Torah. There was a dual direction. This is primarily mitzvahs. Because Hashem gave us mitzvahs, this was the vehicle by which the lower ones could rise. Right? We can get out of ourselves and get out of creation. What does the word mitzvah mean? We always talk about tzavtza v'chibur. It means to connect. Right? The real word for mitzvah does not mean commandment only. It means to bind ourselves to God. The lower ones were unable to bind themselves to spirituality and God without this mechanism called the mitzvah.